something goes wrong, they find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions. Husker Hoops just wrapped up.
As Williams turns the corner, two more into the line. A chance for three, Bryce Williams.
Hustle down to the block, post up, and go to work now on 93.7 The Ticket.
And the offensive rebound, fair game, Butunjo.
The post-game post-up is sponsored by Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, and Lincoln Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits.
Here's a CJ, same spot, sabers it. He is red hot. A siege in the head half court. Eulis could have been goes and it counts. Aaron Eulis for the half court three.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome into the Husker Hoops post-game show. Nebraska basketball, they did it barely there at the end, but they hang on to get the overtime win versus 18-ranked Illinois. We'll see how those guys sit once this game gets processed through the rankings. But nonetheless, want to shout out our sponsors before we get rolling here. Our sponsors, shout out to Action Plumbing, Heating, AC Electrical, and Lincoln Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits. Appreciate you guys sponsoring, allowing us to keep the post-game content for you. Strick, I just want to get your thoughts to start off here. Huskers get the win over Illinois at home, break the 6-game losing skid.
I mean, it was definitely an ugly win, but in my book, a win is a win, a W is a W. It's all that matters. One, you got off the snide. 6-game losing streak is ended. I don't believe that this game should have went into overtime. There's a lot of things that we're going to discuss. We'll talk about these differentials at some point in time, and it ultimately came down to this, man. Illinois played probably one of the worst games that they're going to play. Now, one thing that we knew for sure is that they're a bad three-point shooting team. Yes. We talked about this on the block, Austin and I. We talked about, I mentioned to the fact that I believe that if you kept this team down, you need to not allow them to get a smell, feel good, get going, and you have to do that by not allowing them to just stay at the free throw line. They did a good job of that, especially in the second half. Mm-hmm. You've got to keep them out of transition. You can't turn the ball over to allow them to get into transition. You hurt yourself on the rebounds. We'll talk about the stats shortly, but you hurt yourself on the rebounds, but it didn't kill you.
They saved themselves on the turnovers.
Exactly.
6 turnovers tonight. Like, we'll go through this box score.
We'll talk it through. But
this is one of the most interesting box scores I've ever gone through, with team stats and individual stats. But yeah, I'll let you keep going here. 402-464-5685. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. If you're coming back from the game from the vault, let us know what you think about the Huskers win over Illinois at home. But Strick, I want to.
I one real quick before you ask that question. I don't understand that a bad 3-point shooting team shot 42 threes.
Yeah,
I'm trying to understand that's wild to me, but.
It got to a bizarre point with Illinois.
Jeez.
Early on, it felt like they were launching them for whatever reason. Part of it, their center out, like they're trying to find new offense. And this has been part of that skid, is they have been trying. They've lost 3 out of their last 5, 2 at home. So this Illinois team is shaken up a little bit. But yeah, trying to do something that you're been pretty rough at all year. And they were shooting a lot early, and then later in the game, they felt like they were behind. They started shooting a bunch more. And luckily, nobody was hitting outside of really that freshman. He had a lot in the second half from behind the arc that kind of sparked him. But up until that point, it was bad.
You're talking about Riley.
Yeah,
Riley,
the freshman.
yeah.
He played fantastic. I believe #1 recruit, Illinois, in the state of Illinois. But it just became one of those things where they were shooting the ball so poorly from the three-point line that I found myself just surprised that they were still hanging on there at the end. Just kind of looking at how bad it was, the amount of turnovers in that second half, which I'm just going to go ahead and go there now. They had 17 total turnovers to Nebraska's 6. And the three-point percentages, they shot, again, this is not a good three-point shooting team. They shot 42 threes for a cold 20, if we want to be nice, we'll round up, 24% beyond the arc. Nebraska, we shot 25, but at least we only took 18. I've never seen, that was like Creighton level, but at least that's kind of Creighton's background, is that three-point shooting. And then the field goal percentage, similar there. Illinois lower, 35%. Nebraska about 40. Free throws, Nebraska finally did a little better there, 72%. Illinois 66. Rebounds, 58 to Nebraska's 42. You give up 20 offensive boards. Nebraska gets 13. Steals, they had 3. Nebraska did a good job on the steals. They get 9. Obviously, we talked about those turnovers earlier. Assist. This is the other thing from Illinois. Bizarre. Illinois at halftime had zero assists. And they finished the game in that second half with 7, which is a lot of kick out threes after the rebound. But I mean, what do you make of that? That is one of the most bizarre
this has been a crazy game. And when you look at the box scores, it makes it even look more bizarre. But at the same time, you've got to give Nebraska credit, but you also have to criticize, because this is the part that has been persistent with Nebraska basketball right now. You're looking at, there's a stat that's called layups. Nebraska was 12 of 25 in layups.
Was that really what it came out to?
12 of 25 in layups. If you're not shooting over 75% in layups, that's a problem. You're shooting 50% in layups.
I've seen better at the Little League games in my hometown.
That's a fact.
And I'm not even stressing like that.
That's a fact.
And we mentioned that when I was watching this, we were kind of just weird night in terms of how many bunnies we were missing. Is this just
this is a persistent thing? This isn't just a. It was ugly in a lot of ways, but this has been persistent, and I talk about it a lot. Is they attack their bigs now? Like, I think you'll remember this play. In overtime, Bryce attacked downhill, got into the body of the big, and what did he do? Finished. A lot of the times, they're attacking at an angle away from the rim where the bigs are just waiting in space. And I'm not talking about like Star Trek, and I'm not talking about Lost in Space. I'm talking about they've given a little room, and they're just allowing them to come.
Yeah, they're setting you up.
And they're going to try to finish with a body on them, like, or trailing, and he's able to cause you problems. The issue is you have to go downhill at an angle directly at the big, so that when you go up, you contact him with your shoulder and your body, and then you can extend, because that contact's going to push him backwards. If he doesn't go vertically, it's going to be a foul. If he goes vertically, it's going to automatically, when you connect with his body, it's going to push him back, and then you can extend to finish. When they go to finish, and again, I've talked about this, and I was talking to Schmitty, who's another, he's on another show, and I was also talking with Austin. I said, there's a couple of plays when Morgan goes right down the lane, and he goes up soft as cottonelle and misses bunnies. I said, bro, I'm 6'3", and if I was coming down the lane, I was trying to put you in the rim. And then if I can't get there, I'm going so aggressively at the rim that at some point I still have enough focus so that I can change my angle at the ball. I can show it to you. Oh, I can't get there. Now I can go finish because I'm controlled with my body. These they don't have that, and it's so frustrating, and that's why they're missing a lot of bunnies. They're just kind of going in there hoping they get a foul and just throwing some stuff up, and then they don't get it, and then you've lost your concentration and you missed the bunny.
Yeah, that's a great point. And there's even times where that I just saw, and Bryce Williams, I'm going to give her credit. He definitely fought back at the end to make sure Nebraska gets this dub. So I'll shout him out there.
Also had a couple of boneheads,
but also, yeah.
Whew,
but
they skated, bro. They skated.
They did.
They skated, but I'm going to let you talk because
I'm trying not to poo-poo on the entire thing. I'm not
poo-pooing on them, but because they skated on this.
It's a big win, and it might have just been the ugly win they need to turn it around. Like this team was. That's why I'm not going to be too negative. This team was in such dire straits that I can't be overly surprised that this was just gutted out, brutal win, just trying to figure out how to win a ball game again.
Yeah.
So the hope is this flips the trigger. But back to your point.
Yeah, they did fight.
They fought at the end.
Especially defensively. I got to give them some credit there. They still, work on some areas because some of the areas of those deficiencies and giving up those offensive rebounds, different things that they did. Now you got to give them credit for taking care of the ball. Did a really good job. But one of the things that I saw also, Harrison, is there's how much more difficult it is for them to score when they need to. You saw Yaka Yunus a couple of times just make a big play for them when they needed a bucket. I think late in that game, there's a big three that he hits. Couple of drives. You saw the Euro late in the game when they were making the run to get back into it. It looked like Nebraska's execution and how it just was a struggle bus to just try to get a good shot. And on the other end, they were scoring in 2 and 3 seconds. So you're talking about from an 8-minute time frame to about 7:52. They had scored 2-3 buckets just like that, whether it was on a transition, quick drive at the rim, finish, and they were back in the game. So those are the things they got to try to eliminate to help themselves so that they can be better at preserving wins in this game. But shout out to them. They got the job done. I give them credit because they could have easily folded. Let's be honest. They could have folded.
You just lost 6 straight, right?
Yeah.
That's definitely in the back of your head.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they felt Illinois coming back. And there was some good defense. It's not like Illinois played so bad that there's part of it not great, right. But part of it, you give credit to Nebraska's defense for doing what they need to do. You say that magic number 75 all the time, right?
Right.
Illinois 74. Nebraska 80.
Yep. Yep. I've got to give credit to also just to Hoiberg. Like
what a play.
Just a scrappy, just show scrap. And we need to see that every game out of Juwan Gary. You see when he locked down and
Bryce
Yaka Yunus,
Bryce Williams too. Those guys, the team is significantly better when they lock in.
Yep.
And you saw that today. There was some good, I think Bryce Williams heard that message a little bit because he had some good moments where he's putting good ball pressure, not playing stupid, not fouling. You can maybe nitpick one mental lapse where I might have saw. Same thing with Juwan Gary, which was weirdly kind of more down the stretch where I don't know if there's just situational awareness. We saw that jump ball, you got to rip that thing away at the end of the game and get the foul. That jump ball arrow is going the other way. Illinois getting another crack. It's on a double overtime. So small things like that. But the defense was huge from both those guys tonight. And if we're going to go on this run here, Strick, the game's 20, right? 20 wins to get to conference play, likely with the way the Big Ten is now. 15 is in, 16's the cutoff. March Madness 20, that's kind of the ballpark too. Is it possible now to kind of roll into Oregon, after what you saw tonight? It's still there to turn this thing around, and they're going to have to rattle off some win streaks. I think they have either 3 or 4 games left that they can possibly lose to keep the postseason alive, I should say.
Well, you have Oregon right now on the road, facing off against UCLA, and they got it kind of getting off to a little slow start here.
Yep.
Against UCLA, who is
they found themselves a little bit though as of late.
Yeah. They got some of their pieces back. So when I look at what you have, there's a lot of balance, and I said how important this game was because you were at the bottom of the barrel at 2-7. But there's such a bundle in the middle that if you can win this game and then you can go and maybe get Oregon, or, after Oregon, it's not easy.
Manageable, though, for
but
sure.
It's manageable.
Yeah.
So you got to put yourself in a position to run off a good 3-4 games, and you're going to have to go on the road and get a couple, because otherwise you're going to be at that bottom tier. But you could jump into the middle or the second tier, and just by a little win streak, just how bundled up everybody is. I mean, the middle tier of the Big Ten right now is 6-5, 5-5, and a lot of those teams have to play each other in the next few games.
They're going to cannibalize each other,
so they're gonna cancel each other out, and so then you're going to get a shot at another top tier team, which can give you some good numbers as far as getting into the tournament. You've got a pretty good resume for which you did for a while. You've got some bad losses. I don't think they're bad losses. I think which one would you consider a bad loss? None of them really right now. If you look at the Big Ten, USC,
there was the
USC at home is probably a bad one.
Rutgers is the one that puts
Rutgers
the
is the one that puts
mouth.
it. So the Rutgers and the USC losses right now don't look good at you because you lost them at home.
Yeah, and that's really the only.
And that's the ones that kill you. Yeah. But so that means you're going to have to make up those two somehow.
And Oregon's a hell of an opportunity to go beat up a team on the road. And
if you go get 2 back-to-back teams like that puts you in a good light. That's
and I think the next one's Washington, right? So you just go take care of business, go hit that West Coast, and take whatever confidence you pick up from this game. And you gotta live through that right now. I mean, you just really can't go into any game with any sort of doubt in your head, because it's any room for doubt. The season's going to be over before you know it. Real quick here, I want to talk just offensively though.
Well, Al Kush, real quick.
That's where I was going.
Okay,
with it. That was a great comment. I'm going to plug it up here because it's a great comment. Go ahead and read it.
Al Kush. Hey, my boy, I ain't mad at you because I'm kind of feeling you on this one. I'm not comfortable with Worcester shooting that many threes. I like when he adjusted and went inside the 3-point line to take an easier 2. So what he has to do with that situation is he has to, this is what you would do as a point guard if somebody is literally doing, like, I'm hoping you shoot this ball, right? Okay. You come off. You go just a little bit, maybe towards the elbow. You get a rescreen low, just like you did late. And then you get to the free throw line and just pop you one. You're going to have to do that. If you're a listener and you remember back in the day how bad they used to do that to the little general, Avery Johnson. We used to play Avery Johnson the same way. We knew that they were more dangerous with their pick and roll with David Robinson and with Tim Duncan.
Right.
So we would go under, and what he would do is he would set us up, get us on a one screen coming off. All he does is turn that screen low. You get a little bit deeper paint touch, and you're going to have to knock down a free throw or an elbow shot. If you can't do that to cause them to adjust and change their defense, then you shouldn't be playing, my guy.
Yeah, you're just taking up space out there on the court. And, it's one of those things where maybe he's a better shooter, but, I am to the camp. Like, I haven't seen it this year. Yeah, you got to figure out with your offense. If and that's some of the things where I don't know if he's got in his head that he is that 3-point shooter, but it's not happening this year. So you're right. You got to figure out how you're going to impose yourself on offense. Like, and for me, I think he can certainly get downhill at times. He's got a little work on the finishing, but I think you're right. Like, you just got to figure out some sort of jumper to get guys to go out there and respect you, because he saw it all night. They were letting him shoot. Like, they were totally okay with that. And I get it. You're going to try to get that to stop them from just sagging in, but when you keep chucking them you got an air ball and you got one just barely grazing the rim, like, you got to figure out something else in the game. I'm just
Harrison. There's nothing worse than hitting all bottoms. I call that. You want to know what I call that? I call that hitting draws, hitting panties. That's what I call getting them panties. Like when you hit all bottoms, panties. That's what I call it, right? Now listen, my boy. There's nothing worse than going from that to going to an air ball, bro. Ugh. The next shot you take, you stepped up like you was about to, like it was all draw.
Yeah.
Negative.
It's just It was off.
It
It
was
was
off.
off by a little bit.
It
Maybe
was
the
off.
wind caught it in the vault. But yeah, no.
Yeah, somebody
there's-
opened the door and caught a draft.
That's what it was. It wasn't our guy. What do you do to add some of this offense though? Because you look at a guy like Ulis, played better. He out assist out there. He's not going to be your 20-point score guy. But this team to me still desperately needs to find offense. Like, he got away with this one. It's a good win. It's a gutty win. He took advantage of a team that didn't show up. That's what you're supposed to do. But we are still lacking on offense. I think you're 100%. If anybody scores 75, we can't keep up. And there's no way in hell that we're going to go the rest of the season without somebody doing that. So, Strick, how do we get some offense? Like, who is it? What is it? Is it a scheme or player?
Well, they
What do you
got
got?
74 and they played terrible. So but see, that's the thing. If they rebounded,
yeah,
that game's over by double digits.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If they rebounded, that game's over double digits, right? Okay,
58 rebounds.
that's crazy.
I was reading that
some
before.
of them were just out hustle. Some of them were just out scrap.
Yeah, apologies. I was reading that one before. It must have was like I said 50. That must have been like before the OT bounds. But 58 rebounds to the Huskers 42.
Yeah, out scrap. It was out.
did.
It was some out scrapping.
And 42 threes. You're gonna have a lot of long ring. But that's where you got to be quick to it. You just got to be locked in.
And it wasn't even that Nebraska didn't get great looks all night. They got some good looks. They missed some too. So if you get those good looks, man, you're already struggling with tough offensive execution. Now, they ran some sets tonight, which I've been an advocate for because of Worcester and because of Ulis. If you're going to play those guys, you're going to have to run sets because they are a disadvantage to you in any other forum. There were a couple of other aspects that you kind of look at and say, they had some mismatches on like Morgan a couple of times, and didn't find it, and then you set a pick, and next thing you know, Big's back on. So there's things like that they've got to work out, man. Just because it's already too hard. Now, what they did do good.
Baseline.
And
I'll tell you what, we could start the offense from the baseline every time.
Right. They do execute their
and that to me is always a good sign of like Fred Hoiberg. He knows the X's and O's. He's good at scouting teams and getting that stuff, but the half court stuff is go ahead.
So one of the other things that I saw early on that they needed to do more of, or they need to do more of because it's so tough for them to get good shots, is secondary break stuff. You saw in a couple of instances with some push outs. I think I want to say that Bryce got a rebound. He pushes it out to Asijan. Asijan's able to push dribble for 4 dribbles and step right into an easy 3 early on. Those type of situations is where you can use Ulis and Worcester in, because Bryce isn't going to push like that, right? He doesn't push.
He's like Brandon Ingram, slow and methodical.
So in that situation, though, Bryce, okay, I understand they want you to run the point. But I would push up, allow Ulis in his speed, Worcester.
You got Sam Hoiberg in there.
And so Sam did something early that he didn't do late, is he was driving and he would dribble out. And that puts such a strain on the defense. So if you drive baseline, and as you're going baseline, we call it the Steve Nash type thing. So what you always used to see with Steve Nash or what you see with Chris Paul, they would dribble all the way out.
Scrambles communication.
It scrambles everything up because they don't know who to take you, because a big man normally picks you up because you beat whoever it was, but you're not big enough, you're not athletic enough to finish against the big man, not crafty enough, which Hoiberg's not yet. He's probably not going to get there. But he could dribble out, observe, turn, keep going. Oh, they don't come? You got to pop them. If they do come, attack again, and then collapse the defense, because all defenses by their mentality is designed to touch the paint in deep penetrative drives, right? So if you get out, you don't see nothing, go back in, attack, see if they collapse, and then that's when you're going to find guys for easy shot opportunities. I thought they could have did that more as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's just there's times where we're not getting the defense to think enough. Like, it's really easy for, and again, that kind of goes back to some of the things they were doing to certain guys that knew they couldn't hit the three. Like, they're sagging off. What's Bryce doing? Who's setting the screen for Bryce? Okay, we're just going to follow Bryce downhill. We're going to make sure someone goes over the screen. Connor Segan, he's probably the best at countering what I've seen. He is very good at understanding what the defense wants to do, try to slow him down. And he had a great one tonight where he's just running around that entire perimeter. As soon as this guy turns around, I can't remember who threw the pass. It might have been Bryce Williams. He gets the easiest 2 points in the entire game off of that layup. I know we talked about the layup numbers. They weren't great, but he made that one. So it's just stuff like that. Get to the text line here from Eric.
Real quick before Eric.
Yeah, go for it.
Because it's along that same line. You saw that counter that they developed that got them, I think, 2, if not 3 opportunities, but definitely 2 layups with Bryce. It's a new set. It looked like that they was running. It had Bryce. It looked like there was going to be a handoff. He counters and just dribbles dang near with nobody covering him to the lane. A couple of them was a dunk.
Yeah,
one of them was a dunk. I think the other one was a layup. That's a new wrinkle that they threw in, some form of a counter. I think they could also use Jawan in that action. I would use Bryce and Jawan in that action to get that off. Maybe even BK.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, at this point, like we talked about the offense, like we need some actions we know are going to work. And you got to have some confidence to get those guys just to get some momentum and some confidence in the game, especially when they're starting off slow. But I want to get to this one because Eric and Lincoln, somewhat right. We said it earlier, but Illinois' players played bad because of our defense. I'm not saying Illinois had a bad night all around. I'm giving credit to our defense. So again, like with that defense pressure, it was really good from Nebraska at times. Also, we talked about Illinois shooting a ton of threes. Was that conducive to Nebraska's defense, or is that just Illinois struggling to figure out how to play without their starting five?
So sometimes when you're a team like that, even though they do shoot a lot of threes anyway, they did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just didn't expect it to be that much. I think what happens is when you go on the road, there's a form of laziness that kind of kicks in. And so you defer to what's easy. And that's, basically shooting a three, right? Driving, kicking, just it looks like that's the shot to take. You don't do it well. And when you're having to work so hard on your offensive because you got to think about it, it's effort and you get tired when you crash. Why? Because if you crash 3-4 guys each time, think about how long that run is back on defense, right? You don't have that depth. They don't have depth like that. Look at what their depth is. It's other guys that play, but not the same numbers, especially when your bigs out. You don't really have great front court depth. One was in foul trouble, so you had to throw something else in there. But those are long runs. And you can wear yourselves out. And so when you get tired, there's a form of deferment. You defer to what's easy as opposed to making the hard moves of execution, attacking.
We saw that. Now that you're saying that, there was even early in the game, like it wasn't even the tiredness. It was just like you guys were deferring to a really early three. I mean, it was like one pass deep three for no other reason than we just don't feel like running our offense anymore, or I want to take this shot because I think I can hit it, despite there might be better shots out there on the floor. How good do you think this Illinois team was, though? I do want to ask you that because how good do you think this Illinois team is currently, and because I do want to gauge where Nebraska is kind of sitting in this Big Ten, and if they really just knocked off a 18 ranked Illinois, or maybe an Illinois team who is certainly not looking like a top 25 due to injuries and just the way they played tonight.
Well, this Illinois team is dangerous because if you blink or you don't stay fundamentally sound, they're scrappy enough to beat you by out-scrapping you.
Mm-hmm.
Nebraska did a pretty good job. Here's what saved Nebraska tonight. Good transition D. No turnovers. Low turnovers. And they didn't get killed by the offensive rebounds a couple times. Normally with offensive rebounds with Nebraska, it's some form of an offensive rebound, a kick out three kills you. or some form. Like, they got the offensive rebounds tonight, and guess what they did? Turn the ball over. So they didn't really. So they got the extra possession, but they didn't get anything even at the rim.
Oh, they just wasted energy.
It was wasted. It was wasted energy. There you go.
That's a good point. Let's see. We'll throw it to break here. We'll see if we can get Austin Norman on the other side. But Strick, I do want to get. Let me your last thought before we break here.
I think it was good to be able, like, there's a lot of lessons that they're going to learn on film from this game. But I think for their heart and for their mind, it was good to be able to pull off that type of game before you hit the road and go all the way out west, because it would have been hard going out west with a 7-game
and another ranked opponent.
Now you've got 2, and you've got to look at it as, we got 1. Let's tighten up the screws. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like the equipment in here still works, and it snaps, it moves, it bends. It just needs some tightening, so that it works more effectively and efficiently, right? Otherwise, it'll just collapse down, right?
But it can work.
But it can work.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what the thing is with Nebraska. They just got to tighten up some areas of their game, and go on this road trip with the same heart, fight mentality. And even if we have to scrape, crawl, not beg, but I think they need to show a little bit more resilience, because in some instances you got outworked, and I don't want to see that on the road. Like, you can't go on the road, because guess what? There's not going to be 17,000 people in that gym to pump and prime you.
Yeah.
Right? You got to do that yourself, and that's what it's going to take on the road, and so that's what you're going to need to be able to do.
Yeah, I like that. And just to add my 2 cents to it before we throw it to our first break here, like, it's definitely one of those, I've yet to see this team step on somebody's throat. Like, you got to have that kill factor, especially when you're out on the road. Like, when you got them, you got to bury them. I haven't seen that yet, but hopefully, like, we got a close win here. So hopefully, that instills some confidence in this team. And as Strick says, when you go out there versus a ranked Oregon team, they're not going to be rooting for you. So hopefully you can carry that confidence into that road game. All right, we'll throw it to break here. Hopefully on the other side we can get Austin Orman, as I'm sure he's getting some quotes from Fred Hoiberg during the press conference. But don't go anywhere. We'll keep this rolling. Post-game show, Husker Hoops take down ranked Illinois at home. Talk to you on the other side.
At Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, we're ready, reliable, and recommended. Water heater acting up or your sump pump on the fritz? Call Action. Summer's around the corner. Is your AC working? Are you sure? Call Action. Electrical problems? I'm telling you, call Action. Call Action for a free same-day estimate or a trusted second opinion. You heard that right, a free same-day estimate. 402-423-6960. ActionLincoln.com.
M Suits Clothiers, Lincoln's favorite men's store. Family owned and operated, located 1 block south of 56th and Pine Lake Road. The end of season clearance is going on now with up to 50% off. Stop in now for best selection on sweaters, outerwear, suits, sport coat, dress pants, and dress shirts. M Suits Clothiers, your menswear store.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine bar. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting book. There's only one place to go for all your needs for wine, beer, spirits, and cigars. Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
What's it take to be a mentor with big brothers, big sisters? It takes 30 minutes and a cup of coffee. A video game, best 2 out of 3. It takes sharing thumbs up emojis, clapping emojis, and loaded nachos at halftime. That's how you make an impact on a young kid's life. So go on, share a few hours a month, because mentorship may sound huge, but the truth is, it takes little to be big. To learn more, volunteer, or donate, go to bebignow.org.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports is quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Wrestling fans, it's time to elevate your game, just like Stevens & Smith Construction does for your concrete needs. As your full-service concrete contractor, we deliver solid results every time. From singles to doubles, fighting for inside position to scrambling reversals, we know how to pin down quality and slam expectations. Stevens & Smith Construction, a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket, where Husker wrestlers bring you all the action. Don't stall. Stevens & Smith Construction is here to help you build a concrete foundation for the win. Check us out at www.stevensandsmith.com because stalling is a penalty and winning is the only option. Unearth the secret to long-lasting tires at Tread's Central Tire Pros, a league apart in commitment, service, and expertise. This isn't just about rubber meeting the road, but trust, safety, and surety converging in perfect harmony. This is where expectations are exceeded every time. Make your appointment today at Tread Central Tire Pros, just south of Cortland on Highway 77, or visit our website to explore our services. Remember, when it comes to tires, choose Tread Central Tire Pros because we tread differently.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. The last few years have been wild, but we've been here for you through all the ups and downs, and we'll be here for you when you need us the most, for all your travels and for your day-to-day driving. With winter conditions causing problems all over town, the last thing anyone needs this year is constant car troubles. Let us help you drive in peace and make sure you drive to work and to winter destinations safe. A1 Automotive, 11th and L Street downtown, always honest answers.
Hello.
Angela, we have to break up.
But why?
Because you're a robot and I'm just a guy trying to get better internet.
It's Aloe Fiber, isn't it? I always knew you wanted faster speeds. My contract isn't good enough for you.
Face it, Angela, they let me talk to real people.
Press 4 to break my heart. Oh wait, you already did.
Visit aloefiber.com to switch today.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
All right, welcome back into the Husker Hoops postgame show. Again, I want to shout out our sponsor, Action Plumbing, AC Heating, Electrical, and wall-to-wall wine and spirits. 402-464-5685. I want to get your guys' thoughts on the game. We still got Eric Strickland here. Austin Orman likely still getting quotes from the coach himself at the postgame press conference. Well, Les, quick update for everybody because we did have a text in here as well. And Stricky pointed this out. This one from Chris saying, I don't know if you've mentioned it since I just turned on the radio, but we have to make more of our shots inside the 5 feet area. Seems like we had a lot on the rim and then back off. What was that number you gave me on layups for the night?
The missed layups tonight, they were 12 for 25.
Below 50% on layups. Power 4 basketball program. That's bad.
And what did you say? You said something about you've seen better
yeah, my little
Pee-wee.
league team. Better. I mean, I understand like that's a little mean, but those guys would say the same things themselves. They're gonna go watch that tape. But we talked about this earlier. They're gonna see some stuff themselves that they know is not good enough to go get the next win on the road versus Oregon.
No doubt. And that's not. And this isn't like to come down on them very hard.
No, they got the win.
But this
That's
is right. But this is not a one-off either. This is something that's been very consistent throughout their losing streak.
Yeah,
has been a lot of missing bunnies.
Yeah, and it's sometimes I don't know if that's just like a mental. What is that?
Yeah, I talked about. I think I think that I want to say yes, mental because the mentality should be, I'm going to put you in this rim. And if I can't put you in this rim, I'm going to be so focused that I'm putting this ball in this rim no matter what you do to me. So somehow, some way, it's kind of like I'm going to avoid the contact, or I'm going to try to sell contact. And when I don't get the contact or the foul, then I'm so I'm so preoccupied with selling it, like I'm on a Hollywood movie set, that I end up missing everything. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm Andrew Morgan, I'm trying to put everybody either in the rim, or I'm trying to finish somehow, some way, because you're not a very good free throw shooter. So there shouldn't be anything that should take you off focus of trying to get a foul called. Go finish the ball. And if you get a foul, gravy, because you might miss it. And if you don't miss it, super gravy, because now you've got a 3-point play. And that's the mentality.
Well, it's a good point too, because I'd argue the best finisher on our team is Juwan Gary. What does that guy do when he goes downhill?
And that's suspect, because he missed a lot today.
I will say in the past,
but in the past,
all right.
I want to say the where he was at his best, it wasn't. It wasn't.
No, that was Morgan.
It was after that. It wasn't Rutgers.
Was it just recently versus?
Yeah.
Oh, Maryland.
We didn't play Maryland, did we?
Yeah, we played
on the road.
Maryland on the road.
On the road.
We lost 66 to 69.
Let me see.
And Juwan Gary. No, that was the Andrew Morgan game where he had 17. There was one where maybe it was USC where Juwan dropped 27.
That's it.
Yeah.
USC. That's where he was finishing. But that's one game.
Yeah, and that's, it's part of it. I think it's a mentality thing. I think part of it's offensive spacing. We got one guy that can really strike the fear of a good shooter. Juwan Gary today, someone did point out, didn't take a single 3-point shot attempt. I'm cool with that. Like, you don't necessarily need to. And, he's one of those guys. I don't think you take that unless you really start needing to. Like, if you're just getting walled up and they're begging you to shoot it, then you go ahead. But, no, I thought today was a pretty controlled game by Juwan Gary. We didn't really give the actual scores of everybody out there. So we'll go through Nebraska and what these guys did individually, and then we'll throw it to break one more time as to see our guy, Austin Norman. I want to hear what he got from that post-game show. So again, for Nebraska, give you the leading score was obviously Bryce Williams. He shot 10 for 26, though, I will say. So you got 27, you better if you're going to take 26. 41 minutes, 0 for 2 from the 3-point line, 7 for 10 from the free throws. The free throws were good.
Too late. Like, that game's over if he probably makes those two.
Yep. And
you gave him a chance.
It's a little bit of the Kobe treatment I'll give him on this one. It's like, man, that was an ugly start, but you found a way to get just enough at the end to win it. So he was the leading scorer. You also had Juwan Gary with 13. He shot 50% from the floor, 5 of 10. Sam Hoiberg, 1 for 3, with a big 3 in that as well. Riley Wooster, he gives you 7. Andrew Morgan, he gives you 9. And off the bench, Connor Sejan with 14. Berke Berukengel with 5. Kel Jacobson gets in the game for about a couple minutes. And then Ulis, he gets 2 points. So he does get on the stat sheet. With that being said, Strick, give your final thoughts here. Because on this last one, I do want to turn things over to Austin Norman and hear what he has to say.
Well, for me, again, I want to say that got to be proud of the guys, because I've been there where it snowballed even further, as far as the losing streak. They're at 6, I got to 10. And like I said, you heard Coach Hoiberg say, I could hear it in his presser. We played it on our show. If you didn't get a chance to see it, go back on the block, 937 the ticket FM, the ticketfm.com app, and look it up, because we've got his pressers, and you can hear the frustration.
You hear it from
you can
hear
it
as well. There's interesting. I know what you're talking about. I was listening to that show on my way in, and and there's some things that came to fruition for Hoiberg. One of the things he said, Bryce Williams called him out, not in an aggressive way, but he talked about the difference of what this team is when he plays defense. Sure enough, there were some big moments for Bryce Williams. Again, if we don't play, we can say it was all bad shooting, but the amount of turnovers that Illinois had, you have to give credit to the defense there.
Because that's getting hands on balls, that's getting in passing lanes, that's doing that's getting there for help and forcing them to make an adjustment that they don't complete. That's part of the defense. There's no doubt.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll wrap up with that. Like, no, was it the prettiest one in the world? No. It's like one that everyone's going to be like, I can't. That was an instant classic. Absolutely not. But it was a gritty win, and it was a must-need win. And it's one that everyone in Husker land can certainly live with as they got another tough opponent on the road. That's been Eric Strickland. On the other side, we're going to keep this thing rolling. I want to bring in Austin Norman. He was there for the post-game press conference. We'll talk about that next. Don't go anywhere.
At Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, we're ready, reliable, and recommended. Water heater acting up or your sump pump on the fritz? Call Action. Summer's around the corner. Is your AC working? Are you sure? Call Action. Electrical problems? I'm telling you, call Action. Call Action for a free same-day estimate or a trusted second opinion. You heard that right, a free same-day estimate. 402-423-6960. ActionLincoln.com.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats. For all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100 and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Hey farmers, Boyd Farm Outfitters is hosting a product expo at their facility near Exeter on Tuesday, February 11th. They'll introduce the newest products from Precision Planting and demo the Quick Draw Spray Tender System. They'll give you an up-close look at the Green Eye Select Spraying System, reveal the future of soybean traits, and much more. Stay up to date with the newest technologies in agriculture and learn how your farm can save time and money to become more efficient. Visit BoydFarmOutfitters.com for more information, and they'll see you on the 11th.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Shouldn't the landscape around your house reflect the architecture as well as the interior? Whether it's new construction or breathing life into an outdated landscape, let the teams at Tailored Landscapes, Tailored Lights, and Tailored Life combine as your local source for outdoor living. Schedule a meeting with one of our designers who listen during our consultations and combine your preferences, plus our experience to give you a timeless, sustainable, photo shoot-worthy landscape. Call us at 402-432-2572. Find us on any social media or at www.tailoredlandscapes.com, because when you find one company, you find the benefit of three.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine bar. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for wine, beer, spirits, and cigars. Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment, Nebraska men's basketball postgame show. Again, Husker Hoops winning at home 80-74 versus the ranked 18 Illinois Fighting Illini. And now we go ahead and bring in Austin Orman, who's there live down there at PBA. Just got back from the press conference as well. Austin Orman, let's get your thoughts.
Hey, if anyone sees a monkey running around downtown Lincoln, just know that it's off Nebraska's back. So feel free not to return it to Pinnacle Bank Arena. They did it, Harrison. They did it. The long national or at least statewide nightmare is over. Of all the games that I thought Nebraska would have won in January, this is not one I necessarily would have predicted going in. I know you've seen the same comments I have on the text line and on stream. Oh, Nebraska's not winning another game in January. Welcome to the Big Ten. Right, welcome to the Big Ten. Some nights it's your night, sometimes it's not the opponent's night. Will I say Nebraska earned this one by how beautiful the product on the floor was? No, I will not. But Nebraska absolutely did earn this one, and I think let's start with that from Fred Hoiberg, is that the big theme, the big takeaway from his post-game press conference for me was he didn't see any of the head hanging. He didn't see any of the here we go again. He thought his team managed Illinois' run a lot better than it's handled adversity in recent games. He said, and as an example of that guys were talking to each other about what needed to change or what needed to stay consistent in the huddle before the coaches even got there. He credited his team for, not throwing their hands up all that much, for not letting their heads drop and not letting the moment get too big for them. And when you look at the overall body of work from Illinois, they've struggled against some top-end teams in national play, but this is a game, Harrison, that with an NBA guy in Jack Ashonis and another one in a year or two in Will Riley, that Nebraska loses because Dylan Harper takes over with about 10 minutes to go. They lose to USC, who is a little bit better balanced than Illinois was tonight, but they just let Desmond Claude take over. Kasparis Jackashonis had the ball in his hands quite a bit for Illinois, not nearly as much as those other two guys. Some of that, I think, is on Illinois. Some of that is on improved defensive effort and focus from Nebraska. It's just one win. It feels really good. The monkey's off their back. Like I said, still plenty to take away in terms of growth for Nebraska. But what beat Nebraska in its previous two home games didn't beat it here tonight. I think that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And, kind of just going back full circle to the very beginning of what you're saying, Nebraska, you can say didn't deserve to win that win. Illinois certainly, didn't either. And you give credit for Nebraska to being gritty enough to get, I'll be honest, this game came down to say whatever you will about, wasn't the best performance, best win, quote unquote, for Nebraska. They forced a hell of a lot of turnovers. And that comes with some gutty intestinal fortitude, a little bit from slot for Illinois, but there was a lot of it that Nebraska was just doing what they needed to, getting hands on the ball.
Absolutely. And that's the big takeaway, I think, from Brad Underwood's press conference is when he looks at his team, 17 turnovers to just 7 assists. 7 assists on 26 made baskets. That's essentially a 1 in 4 of its baskets being assisted. On the flip side, Nebraska was closer to 50%. 31 made baskets. 15 assists compared to just 6 turnovers for Nebraska. Huskers had only 1 turnover in the first half. It was a little questionable. Andrew Morgan got whistled for a travel. Stricky was sitting next to me. He said, yep, that's a travel. The rest of the arena didn't seem to think so. I will defer to the 90-year NBA veteran and the Husker Hall of Famer on that one. But Brad Underwood said Nebraska's forced turnovers, or the unforced turnovers really for Illinois, were a result of scouting report. Guys just didn't remember that they couldn't throw that little drop-off pass, that they couldn't just throw the baseline pass. So credit Nebraska for staying true to its defensive principles and making it work. But there's a lesson in there, Harrison, in that Illinois creates so many extra possessions as the number 1 rebounding team in the country. Even then, when they give it away 17 times, they can't afford to do that, right? And Brad Underwood's message to his team, grow up. Grow up. He didn't have an explanation for it other than, guys, we've been over this a million times. And that, to me, is the lesson for Nebraska, who is better in turnovers tonight. But sometimes it's not on coaching. Sometimes it's on players just to, plain and simple, grow up remember the scouting report and don't throw the pass they're baiting you to throw.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Austin Norman, you got anything better? Anything left to add here before we go ahead and wrap things up?
Two quick things. Number one, Brad Underwood was asked about the number of threes Illinois took. 10 of 42. They're top 10 in the country in the amount of threes they shoot. They only shoot at 30% coming into the game. Another warning sign for Nebraska. Brad Underwood said he liked a lot of the looks. I mean, Ben Humerkus goes 0 of 7. That's a 36% three-point shooter, not just this year, but for his career. Nebraska dodged some bullets tonight, Harrison. They didn't exactly close it out strong until Bryce Williams went alpha mode in the last 2.5 minutes of everything. So that is still the warning sign for Nebraska, is that, hey, Illinois got some looks it likes. They'll take its chances with it. And then the other part is, here comes the West Coast road swing. We'll talk about this a little more on the block tomorrow. Last 2 to 4 show before it moves to 3 to 5 next week. Shameless plug. Oregon's an interesting team, fascinating matchup, and then Nebraska's got to find a way to beat Washington on the road. This is a great opportunity for Nebraska to get back on the horse and prove that tonight wasn't a fluke. It's going to be tough. Nebraska's got to earn it, but there's a real chance for Nebraska with these 2 road games, then coming back home for a couple, for Nebraska to get back on a roll, and, maybe the season's not quite over yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was, to me, what was really important as we wrap things up here. And appreciate all you guys listening for this Husker Hoops post-game show as Nebraska defeats ranked 18 Illinois at home. But the big thing for me was season's still alive now, right? You got a more opportunity to go on the road. That road to getting 20 wins, yeah, still seems like a lot, but certainly a lot more possible with beating Illinois at home. That's going to wrap it up. Appreciate you guys listening. Be sure to join us back again 6 a.m. tomorrow, early break with Sip, Jake, Coach Bill Bush. They'll catch you in the morning.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402